Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's August 1st, 2022, and this morning I thought one of the things I do is try and address one of the comments or emails that I get not uncommonly, so they don't come in all the time and all. And it's based on the concept of people suggesting things that we could do differently and all. And believe me, I do appreciate people's suggestions, their thought processes, because sometimes those are things that we need to consider and incorporate. And my philosophy is that no matter what it is that I'm doing in life, there's probably a way that we could tweak things or approach things or do things better. Everything I've done in my life, from the construction of our house that we built over 40 years ago, or almost 40 years ago, would I do things a little bit differently today? Would I do things differently than the way that I designed the workshop? All different things, the garden layouts, and as you could see in the previous videos this spring, we're modifying our garden layouts. And as our interests and goals and aspirations continue to innovate, there's changes and all, our activities will change and modify as well. So my brother Jim, he's my older brother. He lives in a small piece of property in a city of Syracuse, and so he and I love him. He's always trying to think of things that he can do to help out and all. And so one of his suggestions is put some signs up in front there, because I've made videos that we have a hard time selling all of the materials, the plants that we have over there in the greenhouse, the nursery that we've had in previous years and all. I'm not a salesman person and all, but one of his suggestions was at the end of the road, put up some signs, put some signs in front of the property as well, and do some sales. One of the things that we're doing with our Craigslist ads and our Facebook marketing ads is we put our phone number down so people can text us or whatever. And what we suggest is tell us a day and a time that works for you, and we'll see if we can make arrangements to meet you at that time, because we don't have hours that we can be available. So we start off very early in the morning, and like the first thing I've got to do with each piece of equipment, I've got to do an inspection of the equipment. I've got to clean the tracks of each piece of equipment, because I'm doing lots of work in the forest and on the roads and all. So the tracks have got to be clean, the windshield has got to be clean, got to check the hydraulic oil, the motor oil, and so on and so forth. I've got to refuel the piece of equipment. Since we're in a drought time right now, I have to blow off all the dust, because this is going to get into our whole cooling system and our air and our intake filtration system as well. I've got to repair things. So like a hydraulic line that blew on the grapple there, that had to be repaired as well. In the mornings, I've got to do some watering of not the standard beds, but we're trying a new thing with cover crops, not cover crops, living pathways in the garden. So, I have the overhead sprinklers on for a period of time. Thea's constantly busy doing the work that she's doing as well. And it's just a little over 7 right now, and I'll be in the forest until probably 4 p.m. this afternoon working there. So having signs up doesn't really, all it would do is create frustration for people wanting to stop in and see what we have. We're not set up for tours yet. We're not really set up for, and I don't think we'll ever be set up for just having a stand and all. I did that before. It didn't work out at all. Up at the roadside, people definitely wanted the things, they took them, but we didn't get compensated for them. So, and we've tried the sales of the seedlings in the beginning of the seasons. For a few years I did that, had very few sales, even though our prices were 1/3 the price that you'd pay at Walmart, and they're bigger, organic and all. But it's people in this area just aren't interested. If we lived in Syracuse, it would be a different story. People have different sets of values in different cultural and social economic groups and all. We just happen to be in a location where people don't value that so much. But our goals are always being modified somewhat based on the things that we're seeing and developing, and we're really committed to doing so much of the earthwork stuff here, working for the future. Like we say all the time, our ethics are self-care, earth care, people care, and future care. And that means hopefully more and more people are becoming aware of the importance of good, clean water. And we're depleting our freshwater aquifers rapidly. The Northeast here in the future, people are gonna want to take this water and move it out west, and I could see where that should happen. But that requires us to stop filling in the wetlands, stop working, work more with nature to increase the deposition of redeposits of water, surface water, that normally just runs into the rivers and goes into the oceans. We want to take that water and recharge the aquifers around here. It's going to help people out tremendously in the future. So it's really super important, the jobs that we're doing. Certainly with climate change and all, the CO2, the methane, the nitrous oxide, all of those things that are just customary that we've been doing for a century, that are increasing the global warming, climate change. I know there's lots of people that just don't believe in that. But by reforesting the areas, by sequestering the carbon in the soil and all, these things I feel are essential to do. And I'm not going to rely on our government to do these things. I'm going to rely on myself, and hopefully I can inspire other people to do some of these similar things. And certainly what we're doing here is just a drop in the bucket. It doesn't have a significant impact, but it may have an impact on someone out there who watches one of these videos, or that ultimately comes here and sees what we're doing with bioremediation, our ponds, swales, and canals, and how we're doing it on a big gravel soil and all. Hopefully we can encourage people to do that. I think that, food supplies are going to be very tough. Many people are really dependent on grocery stores and all. And yes, prices are up this year, but those who eat the standard American diet, wait until 2024. If you watch the news and you see in social media what the farmers are having to do because of fertilizer prices, diesel fuel for their farm equipment, the costs of irrigation for their crops to feed their cattle or their livestock. Many of them are forced to selling their cattle that could be producing more cattle in the future, because they have to take them to market because they can't afford to keep feeding them. That's going to create a false low cost for many of the people that are going and getting food now. Believe it or not, with the costs of meat and all going up, it's much cheaper now than it'll be in 2024. Because there aren't going to be all of those ones, and because there's going to be a tremendous demand, and there isn't going to be the supply, because so many of those young cattle, and certainly if we have more seasons with droughts like this, more fires, it's going to be more challenging. And I'm not a big poo-poo doomsdayer person at all. I just want to look at what's actually happening around us. If you just check on YouTube in Austria, some of the challenges they're having because of the Ukraine and Russia and Putin's war going on there. That's affecting fuel prices, and it's affecting energy shortages as well. So there's going to be power outages. So these are things that I think about. So people with small bits of property can put in root cellars like we've done. We've designed ours. We have it. Do lots of processing of food. And that's one of the things that Thea's doing all the time, is taking all of the food from our gardens and putting it into storage systems, whether it's dehydrating, freezing, and during the winter months canning things. But weeding and caring for all of these plants take up our whole day from early morning until late evening. And we're at a point now where we're not basically going to be able to have open hours for people to come by and all. I appreciate everyone's thoughts and ideas, and keep them coming. I think that's fine. but it just doesn't apply to our goals and aspirations and all. So I hope this video helps to clarify things. Again, I'm always looking forward to your comments and suggestions. They're often very insightful and give me thought processes. I'm always looking for ways to improve what we're doing here. Thanks so much for watching, and have a super fantastic day. Bye-bye now.